What is up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing some test hands here for the Rokket deck that I recently profiled. This is definitely going to be really interesting to see how this deck could actually turn about, seeing how this deck doesn't actually play the conventional way as a lot of deck profiles out there. For example, I'm not playing cards like Seifert because it's not a card that I actually have accessible to me because I just couldn't really find one, and even then they are quite pricey cards as well. So with that being said, I make do with what I have, but even so, that doesn't mean that the deck is any less than what other decks are. This deck can still definitely do things, and it's what makes it so unique. So with that being said, let's begin. But very quickly, I would like to remind you guys to drop a like, share, comment, and consider subscribing as well if you enjoyed this video, as you'll be notified for similar content when they actually come out. And so with that being said, let's begin. Alright, so here's our opening hand. Definitely quite restrictive. It's not really the hand I want to open up with, at least for demonstration purposes. Opening up with this is okay because we technically do have two disruptions. Effect Veiler is a great way to disrupt the opponent, and Caught by the Grave is also a great disruptor on its own as well. So these two cards alone will already do so much there, but when it comes to demonstrating the different plays and everything like that, it's a shame to see this, but you know what, consider this already a really good start because you already have these two out there. But I would like to mention that in this particular demonstration, we won't be able to really pull off much with these two cards being here. However, with that being said, we could definitely still do stuff with the quick launch. A great starter, the first card we're going to bring out here will be the Rokket Tracer. An absolutely crucial card there, so let's just take a look and see if we can actually find it. We're going to bring it out over here, and we're immediately just going to link it up, allowing us to go for our Striker Dragon. So this will allow us to then add our Boot Sector Launch. Really nice, right over there. And we keep this in the hand. We're going to go for a Monster Reborn next, and this will allow us to bring back the Rokket Tracer. By default, you can't really do anything else. You could normal summon the Veiler, but it doesn't really do much because that won't do anything anyway. So we're going to link these two up. I will actually put out over here a Field Center, that way we could actually stay oriented. And we're going to bring out our, where is it, Romulus, right over there. So now that Romulus is out, we can actually search for a Dragon Ravine and see what we can do from there. So where are you? Over here, nice. Next up, because we actually summoned out Romulus, we can actually bring out the Parallel Exceed from the deck, or from the hand of course, onto the zone that Romulus points to. And I'm going to bring it out maybe in this zone over here. And from that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another Romulus from the deck and special summon that out wherever that is. So where are you? Over here. So the other one is going to be a level 4 because it was special summoned out via this one. So that is definitely quite a shame, and it's okay, but it is link fodder anyway. So next up, we're going to go for the Dragon Ravine, activate that, allowing us to also get rid of the Boot Sector Launch, and this will allow us to then get rid of one card to the graveyard. We're going to get rid of the, let's go for Abzarauta. By getting rid of Abzarauta, we can then add a Rocket monster from our deck to our hand. We could go for the Rocket Synchron, that's not necessarily the worst option, and here's my thought process. So I'm going to play out several scenarios here. So let's say we actually went for this scenario here. We brought out a Rocket Synchron. We haven't actually done our normal summon yet, so we could normal summon out the Rocket Synchron, and this will obviously allow us to then bring back the Abzarauta, and we could link these to, well, synchro summon these two, that is, allowing us to immediately go for a Savage Dragon, which would then equip the, where is it, the Striker Dragon directly to it, and this will essentially give us 1 disruption, 2, 3 disruptions there, so it's not necessarily the worst thing. Or we could try out an alternative play, so that we're just going to do that right now. So instead of searching out the Rocket Synchron, just going to simply put this away for now. And we could go for something else. It's just depending on what we could go for. One of the regular rocket monsters instead. So now let's take a look and see what we actually have to work with in our extra deck. So right over here, few options. I mean, we could go for the Imp Masquerena as well. Not necessarily the worst option. However, what's an interesting option we could actually go for is, I'm going to normal summon out here. I mean, I do want to go for something that would allow us to make the most out of certain cards. So that would be something like, I was thinking perhaps we could go for over here a normal summon of the middle rocket, link that away, allowing us to then go for our Pisty. So we're just going to look for that right now, bring up Pisty, and then we're going to take Romulus, Parallel Exceeds, and that's actually going to be a link 4, and this will allow us to then bring out our Borrowed Guard Dragon. So here's a bit of a space saver over here, right over there, and this is basically what we have. Just trying to fit everything on the field here. So this is pretty nice because Pisty can then obviously special summon something else since Borrowed Guard is right over here. So you can bring back whatever you actually want to. In this particular case, if you want to benefit, you could actually go with the Romulus, and by bringing out the Romulus, you could then link climb with the Pisty to go for perhaps a triple burst. That would be quite nice. That's not necessarily the worst option. However, as an alternative, instead of going for the Romulus, you could then special summon out the Rocket Tracer instead. And Rocket Tracer has yet to use its effect, so we're going to use Rocket Tracer's effect, and this will allow us to send our Dragon Ravine to the graveyard by destroying it, and we get to special summon out one of our rocket monsters from the deck. I'm just going to bring out, let's see here, one of the other ones, so Silver Rocket Dragon, and from that we could essentially just use these guys as fodder to go for our Savage Dragon. So in this particular case, we could then equip the Romulus to the Savage Dragon, which would technically be a better play than what I did earlier, but yeah, you essentially get here Savage Dragon, 1 disruption with 2 negates of course, get an effect failure, Caught by the Grave, that we are definitely going to set down. And we also have the Borrowed Guard Dragon. Keep in mind it can't be destroyed by card effects, making it quite an effective card. So overall, quite nice, quite imposing. The only thing that's really, I guess, vulnerable would be the Pisty. So I would obviously love to make something work with the Pisty as well. But I guess it depends on what you want to go for, because Pisty does prevent you from going for anything other than dragons. So that is certainly something that you have to consider there as well. But I guess it's not necessarily the worst thing to actually have. It's definitely still quite decent. Alright, so wow, this is an interesting hand. Firstly, we do have a disruption, so we do have Ash here, so very nice, but it's pretty much just a dead card in hand for the time being in terms of what we could do for our combos. So we're going to activate the quick launch, and this will allow us to summon out our first card, which would be the Rocket Tracer, I believe to be the key card for the combos here. But next up we're going to summon out Noctavision, because it triggers off with the Rocket Tracer. So we can immediately take these 2 cards and link them away. So this will allow us to then go for our Romulus. Now we're going to add with the Romulus first, and this will allow us to... Oh, that's very interesting. Maybe before that, since we have a rocket out on the field already, I'll summon out the Absorauda as well, just as an additional thing, and then I'll just do the usual over here. Or I'll keep the Rocket Tracer on the board and I'll take these 2 and link them away to go for Romulus. That would still work out, and we'll just keep that all the way at the end there. So what we're going to do is we're going to trigger off 3 different effects. So we have the first one, which is Romulus, allowing us to add our Dragon Ravine. from our deck to our hand. Then we have Absorauda, allowing us to then add a Magna Rocket perhaps. Unless we haven't done a normal summon, so in this case I might actually go for the Rocket Synchron, and then we have the final effect of Noctivision, which will allow us to draw a card, so I'm going to shuffle my deck. Alright, so we're just going to draw one card here. With Effect Veiler, I mean, that's 2 disruptions right off the bat. I mean, it's already so good, and that's the thing with this deck. You can just play a bunch of hand traps, and you have all of these disruptions really easily. So you don't even have to worry about anything else, but it's okay because you have over here a Dragon Ravine, so I can activate that for the time being. And let's see what else we could potentially do here. I do have a few options I could go for. The Red Eyes Darkness Metal is a pretty nice option here. I might want to take the Rocket Tracer, and this will allow us to then go for a Striker Dragon. And from that, we can then search out our Boot Sector Launch. So where is it? Boot Sector Launch is over here, fantastic. Next up, we're gonna do the normal summon here of the Rocket Synchron, allowing us to bring back our Absorauda Dragon. And then from that, what we're going to do is, out of all of these cards we have over here, we could discard with the Dragon Ravine, getting rid of our Spiral Dragon. So where is that? Spiral Dragon is over here. And then Spiral Dragon can easily special summon itself back out onto the board. So now that you have Spiral Dragon back out, you could then banish this because it's a dragon, summon out your Red Eyes. Red Eyes will then summon out either your Rocket Tracer or your Noctivision, whichever one you want. And from that, we could then take Rocket Tracer, Red Eyes, Striker Dragon, and Romulus, and these 4 cards will go for yugioh. And keep in mind, we haven't used Rocket Tracer's effect yet, so because of that, we don't have to worry about anything. So all we're going to do here is go for our yugioh, and this will allow us to draw 4 cards, so I'm going to shuffle my deck again. Alright, so now we're going to draw 4 cards, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to return 3, so we already have Ash, so there's no need for it. We don't need Chaos Space because it doesn't apply right now. And we probably won't need the Foolish as well, so just going to send these 3 cards back to the bottom of the deck. And we have over here a World Legacy Guard Dragon. Now that's a big deal because it allows us to essentially extend the board. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take these 2 first, and we're going to Synchro Summon these 2, allowing us to go for a Savage Dragon. And we're just going to bring it out all the way at the end if we want. We could bring it out over here as well, I don't think there's any harm. We'll just equip the Romulus, and that's pretty nice over there. So we have here 1 negate, 2, 3 disruptions really. Definitely fantastic. Plus it got boosted up by the yugioh as well. Definitely fantastic, but we can activate our World Legacy Guard Dragon, and this will allow us to then special summon back a level 4. The only one we have is really Rocket Tracer. We could also bring back Rocket Synchron, but it doesn't really do much, so we're going to go for Rocket Tracer over here. Tracer's effect allows us to actually pop the Ravine, summoning out 1 additional monster. So in this case, we're going to bring out maybe Magna Rocket. And that's already looking really nice, by the way. So what do we actually want to go for here? We could go for Pisty, which would actually be quite powerful. Let's see, could we actually go for Pisty in this case? Let's check the graveyard. We have here a few interesting options. Maybe we could take... So we could summon this over here instead. We could take Rocket Tracer, go for Pisty. Pisty can bring back the Tracer, which is pretty nice, and we could go for a Link 3 or even a Link 2. just keep in mind that at this point you can only go for dark dragons, so because Rokket Tracer's out and Pisty's out as well, so they're the two that locks you in. So we are definitely locked out into a few different things that we can't do here, but you know what, I do see a Delindrous Dragon which could potentially work out for us. For example, we take Pisty, we take Rokket Tracer, link those two away, allowing us to go for our Delindrous Dragon, and from that, and we could easily go into the triple verse with the Delindrous and the Magna Rockets and bring this out here. So it definitely looks pretty nice. Of course, with Guard Dragon, you could also manipulate it by moving the Savage Dragon to allow triple burst to go here, and that way maybe the link markers might be a bit more generous in this particular case. Now, there is an alternative play you could actually do with this as well, so let's reverse it just a bit here. So instead of going for triple burst, we bring back these two, but instead of going for Delindrous, we go back to these two, and instead of using Pisty to bring back this, instead of going for Pisty, we keep this on the board. So we start off with these two again, and we're just going to go into these two instead, link them away, and instead of going for Pisty, you'll instead go for over here, where is it, Twin Triangle Dragon, and this will allow you to then special summon back one of your big monsters, so in this case your Red Eyes Darkness Metal. It just has its I guess its effects negated, and it also can't attack this turn, but it's your first turn anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So that obviously changes up your plays, allowing you to go for something slightly different here. But yeah, that's definitely an option. Now, if you're going second with the Rokket Tracer and the Metal Rocket, you could also go into your Arc Rebellion as well, which would be nice for an OTK, but that's not what you're going to do, you know, you're going to go for this instead. And either or, I mean, both situations still work out well. This one just gives you more monsters on the board, so you have a bit more to work with, which is definitely nice. But with that being said here, this is definitely still a really nice opening board. We have here at least 3 disrupts, and all of these are all boosted anyway from yugioh, not to mention the fact that you also have just big beat sticks out here. Your opponent really has a hard time getting over it. If you want to clear the board first by using Guard Dragon, feel free to just shift your cards to a different column, opening up more space. However, that was pretty much for some test hands going first. Since both test hands actually took a lot longer than actually expected, I will actually just continue this in a different video. But with that being said, definitely let me know what you guys actually think about this. As you could see, each of the opening hands could definitely do different things, so you can definitely consider it in that sense. Most of the time you will be at least able to get at least 2 disrupts, and yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, in this case we got 3 disrupts plus the beat sticks on the board for the opponents to try to clear, but they're definitely going to struggle. But with that being said, I don't want to keep this video to be too long, so I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.